Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Max's Fearless Youth, where we combat suicide and substance abuse through the arts. I'm Katie.
I'm Liz.
And we have a wonderful guest here today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Star Nigro.
Nice to meet you, Star.
My real name, I didn't make it up, just, for record.
That's a great name. So, Star, tell us a little bit about where you came from. Where did you grow up?
Well, I actually was very blessed to grow up in the small town of Woodstock. So I grew up here. Actually, my father was a sculptor, so I had the privilege of going to some art galleries as a young person, being one of the only little toddlers. I remember the one sculpture up with a penguin at the Artists Association was the closest thing to my height. So I always kind of had that exposure young. I felt really blessed growing up here because of a lot of things I was exposed to with art and different people. Like a lot of my friends were really creative. And so that was really inspiring to have like friends that encouraged me to draw or do better. Because I'm a photographer by trade, but a lot of my beginning stages was doing sculpture and painting and drawing. And I just would get lost with art, honestly. Just time would go by. And it was nothing I really thought of as something I would go into on a professional level, but it just gave me a lot of joy. Learned how to make whatever my imagination could go to, I could make. So I think it helped to set the tone of like what I could create. There was no limit, And then I had great teachers also at school, and that kind of just encouraged me in different ways, exposing different ideas, different processes to me. Like I was able to take art when I could. And then when I didn't, I was able to still stay on my own, do what I could, But I felt like everything I experienced was a privilege, you know what I mean? And so grateful for that exposure. And I think it's really wonderful. I know there's still lots of that cost money, but it's nice to see how things are growing and budgets and grants are coming forward to really make more room for people to talk about this. I mean, look at what you got with the phone, that's a real privilege. When I teach history of photography and, bring back the time glass plates, let alone film.
It's really interesting that you talk about the history of photography and how there's more grants and other organizations that allow for people to be involved in the arts. Because I believe that art isn't a privilege, it's a right. Everybody should have the right to learn about art, to develop their own kind of art, whatever they want to take. For example, the Max's Kansas City Foundation, they gave me a grant to attend a tintype photography class at the Center of Photography in Woodstock. And that was probably one of the most eye-opening experiences I've ever had in terms of the arts. It's really incredible to see like the chemistry and the
science, right?
Yeah. And just meet fellow photographers in the community. Like I would have never met these people, but now I have like several people that I know and that I frequently talk to.
It's really exciting. When I went to art school for photography, that was pretty amazing because I was like, wow, there's a lot of different backgrounds and excitement and the way, I think the biggest excitement about all these processes, but it taught me so much about the moment. This has been a big teacher in my life, and I think art's been amazing for myself because at times in my life I didn't always feel great self-worth, but I felt like if I could make beautiful things, it made me feel like, wow, like that was a good thing, you know what I mean? Because I could like make other people feel good. It got me to also like with school, it kind of, I think everyone's got a different journey, and I just think that the whole idea of the classroom shouldn't be contained even to a building, because I remember when I graduated college, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm graduating college. What am I going to do? And I think, wait a minute, what was life before college? Okay, take a breath. All right, the adventures of life, right? So you just keep on building and the problem solving that happens and, forming your own style as a photographer, as an artist, forming not just what I saw around me to mimic, but what started to, get me to start to expand that hemisphere.
What college did you end up going to?
I ended up going to the Art Institute of Boston, but it ended up getting merged into Lesley University. That experience really helped to guide me and also to really build the muscles in yourself because you were going to walk out of a building and you got to have a lot of those tools in you. I couldn't have always for myself. I wanted to have that confidence when I got the moment and it felt right. It was right, and not just always asking permission for everybody or what everybody thought, but rather, oh yeah, really knowing you got that the best you could. I've been inspired with all the things I can do with photography because I didn't want to just for it to be on the wall. I wanted to wear it. I wanted to, use it. I take recycled random objects and I want to put a photo on it. So I've created like almost a game for myself. So I'm always intrigued, but sometimes what I found is it's easier to have the idea than to put it into actual physicality. And that's a lot of my work is the kinesthetic building. Taking the photo is a part of the step sometimes. But it's just life moments that, just seem like a complete moment, right? Like almost sometimes it could be funny, it could be mysterious, it could be serious, right? So I often have found that like I've been led to just photographing different like people and traveling different countries and different places and photographing these moments. There's talk about poetry. I used to do poetry, so I'm feeling the poetry in life. And so some of those moments, I'll collage them. I'll make them dimensional. I'll draw on them. I'll make them into this is one of my jewelry pieces. And people's reaction is always surprising. Even after all these years of selling it, I'm always amazed. Like, wow, you connected, you're feeling that. I had an amazing story. We talk about people feeling your work or seeing your work. And I had an experience where I did a show out in the Hamptons, and it was an outdoor festival. And my work, I was doing dimensional photography, making my photographs dimensional, but not through 3D lasers, by hand. And I had this woman come over, and she was blind. And I thought to myself, wow, I said, she was there, and I'm going, well, please, by all means, can you please just go around feeling the artwork? I want you to experience this. So she's like feeling all my work, and she ended up buying a piece, something that was so cool. I made of it was a coconut, and I put like a photo scene of the water, and she could feel it, and she bought it. I thought that was awesome. Yeah, so I've been able to teach photography, recycle art, and that's been really fun and exciting because I feel like I had so many great teachers and had a lot of people in my life that supported me to do well, and I felt like I was an investment for a lot of people, So I wanted to pass that on, in a good way, like a good recycling system. That's the best recycling system. Being good, being a blessing, and plant seeds and encourage, So worked for the Bronx Council on the Arts, teaching recycle art. My classes were 5 years old to 85 years old. One-room schoolhouse to the max, and encouraging everybody to use their different talents and skills. And it's been awesome. Then I've been teaching photography to youth 13 to 18, teaching them how to use DSLR cameras, teaching them about the history, teaching them about composition, teaching them about different artists, as well as taking them for walks, exhibiting their work, so it's been really fun to just empower others and see people grow, right? And I mean, I feel like I've heard some really touching stories with my students. I feel so honored and blessed, and it's really been making, it's planting great seeds in people, and I just hope it just keep blooming big flowers,
Sometimes even I forget that, wow, we live in this area, and I can go outside and I could go to CPW after school, the office there, and even with me, I got a job with a photographer, and that's something I want to pursue. And I'm thinking, if I was, let's say more, let's say in Saratoga or something, or somewhere really small and not as connected to the rest of New York as that, I feel like I would be pretty I just feel like we're really lucky to live here and have these opportunities.
And it's a privilege, right? So that we use the word privilege, but then it's like a tool, right?
Yeah.
It's wow, what do we do with that? Because actually Saratoga, I was just in Saratoga Springs, and that place was hot, but that
really
was a city up there, friend. So it goes, yeah. And also too, most of New York City is up here. And I will say, biggest thing in the art thing too is knowing who you are. I think being in this area is wonderful and keep expanding, because we're traveling with that information we can share with others, empower others who may not have certain resources, and that's what to me is like the best ripple effect, right? So the Center for Photography is a great resource and a number. So I think you guys are in an exciting place.
When you make your art, like with your photography, would you say like how do you come up with your ideas? Like how do you think like I'm gonna make this a sculpture but
What
add
inspires you?
Haha, I was thinking about what inspires me. It's sometimes so strange, just the mundane. It's not always the most epic. Like I've been seeing some waterfalls lately when doing some traveling. That really inspires me, but it's like a random, it's inspiring. Just like, oh, the silence inspire. I mean, inspiring can be like a great conversation with somebody. It can be a great meal. Like art to me is not restricted to what I create on the wall. It's like my life, how we live our lives. But I think like what inspires me, like a moment I find, and I'm sometimes what will inspire me is like an object. Like I'll have this random object. I'm like, I got this door. I got this shutters. I have no excuse to keep it. But if I put a photo on it, I can keep it or I'll sell it. Or because that's what I figured out too. Like if I keep random objects, the appreciation value of the object is near to nothing. But I add a photo and that just went 1,000% on that. So sometimes it's like random stuff that kind of gets me, there's not really a rhyme or reason, but I think sometimes it's the objects. And then, as I said, and then sometimes like I'll find too, like I'll be looking at one of my pictures and I'm like, I want to draw on it. No, don't draw on it. Oh, I want to draw on it. Oh, no, don't draw on it. Oh, yeah. And then I just have like a mini conversation with myself and I'm like, okay, I'm going to draw on this. And I'm going to take an X-Acto knife next. I only have one print. This may go well. It could be a total botch, but it's mine. No one's watching, And I always tell people too, when you're working on a piece, sometimes I'm like, dang, that's really ugly. That looks really, wow, I can't let that leave the door. Because sometimes I'm having stuff that's going out to an exhibit, so it's right away being in the world's eye. But photography, like you all know, photography is very like temperamental, right? You've touched too much, anything, it just, So I kind of go, all right, that could be a mistake and that could have been totally disregarded, but how can I still work with this? I can. And it's been amazing. Like I had one print particularly that was totally like, it just went through some stuff. And I'm kind of going, man, it's a great picture. It's Pete Seeger's banjo. It's a great shot. I've sold a lot of this picture and I was like, I got to still make this work. And so I find myself painting and I'm finding myself putting like collaging on some metal stuff. And it just evolved. No one would have known what it was. And I put the frame and then I ended up selling it. It was like such a blessing. And I would have like, wow, but it got me to push further too, so I like to think that a lot of this stuff with art lends itself to problem solving. And so to me, it's like, this has helped to expand like other things I've tried in life. And I feel like that's, because I feel like, I would have like a perfectionism about something and it seemed stifling. So once I kind of got past that, it helped to like open up, where I'm not like so rigid and I'm able to experiment. And if it's my failure or success, at least it was like something I did and not just thought about. And I feel like that's what a lot of us are afraid to do. I mean, in life, your life is a precious gift. So you don't want to like, experiment too much on that. But with with art and stuff, it's gotten me to, make healthy experimental decisions that have really expanded and, expanded my little world and made me try things out that I maybe wouldn't have tried.
How would you say that doing the arts has like affected you personally and has like helped you grow?
It's been a really amazing. I can honestly say I would have never thought all of what has happened. Really, I feel very humbled. Really, it has changed the way I look at life because I look at everything like creatively now. It's affected my problem solving, affected even the way I look at my friendships and relationships. It's made me take on things I probably never thought I could do, honestly. I didn't always have that confidence. And now it's like, wow. And to make things happen and to now work with other people and know how things can work so I can properly help other people or direct. So it's an interesting, I'm again, very grateful and humbled by all these amazing experiences and different people I've met along the way that gave me different opportunities you know, that's been something that if I could pass on anyway, that's really wonderful. So we're really just blessed and being grateful. And sometimes things wasn't ideal, things in life happen, and what do you do with it? Bitter is not better, you know. So you keep growing from things and keep trying to be a better person overall. That's most important. Because that, like your artwork, that's great. It's standing in the hallway, but where is your life? Our life is a piece of art, who we are and what kind of person we should be to other people. I feel like that's my most biggest art, is my life first. And then the art is the extension.
Do you have an experience with like how you said that like about your art is like an extension of your life? Like, do you have in it like a time where you really felt like this is me, like this is like all I'm putting myself into this piece?
Yeah, I think a lot of everything I do is a lot of me. But I also know what for me, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a private person, so it's not really important to. I've always wanted to make art for like universal art, so you could be wherever in the world or be any person, and you could relate to that moment. So that's something that's really inspired me too, to like make something like a song, a good song. You feel like, wow, I don't care where you are or what language you speak. Right? I feel that, and that's where with art, I wanted to make that. So myself, I'm not so, I try not to be so incredibly personal, but I would say put my passion into and my whole, like I want them to be quality, like when I work with people, I want them to I want to do the best that I can do, So that's kind of what I encourage. Always do the best you can do. There's nobody else like you. So do the best you can do. You make mistakes, we grow, and we get wisdom. Forget smarts, wisdom. You know thyself. That's a really important thing. And then nobody can sway that for you, And that's important. With art, there's a lot of ego involved. So it's just important that you navigate and know who you are throughout it all. And then you'll do a lot better. That's how I tried to pursue my life. In every project I take, with people I take, I want to have something I look back at and know that I did the right thing, or, I had integrity with what I did. And I have a visual opportunity and obligation to do right.
Thank you so much for coming on today. It was wonderful to hear your stories, your experiences as an artist and as a person. So it was great to have you.
It's a great honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
A really great honor. Keep shining bright, lady. Thank you so much for doing this work.
And we will see you on the next episode of Max's Fearless Youth. Bye.
Bye.